All right, welcome back here. Welcome back. A little bit of a morning recap here for you. My name is Joseph. Welcome to our live trade room. If you're here for the first time today, we welcome all the trial members. If you signed up for a free trial, we welcome you guys aboard, and we encourage you to get involved, introduce yourself, ask questions, let us know how we can earn your trust, earn your business as a member. Now, today we traded gold, Russell, didn't trade euro, but we're looking for a euro trade right now, and of course we traded crude oil. Now, I had a pretty good day, had a pretty decent day here. We were expecting a little bit more, though, out of this morning, I thought. I thought for sure we'd get, because we had more news, I thought for sure we'd get a little bit more activity today, but I think that non-farm payrolls tomorrow, I think that's what was really kind of holding things up here. We began the day knowing that we had a holiday in Europe, so we knew we were going to be a little bit less than ideal for the European-based markets, euro included. We also knew that 8:30 this morning would get us started. 10 o'clock, we had the biggest news of the morning at 10 o'clock. And then we also knew that we had 10:30 natural gas. We thought we had crude inventories at 10:30, but that had been pushed back to 11. A couple different websites were showing different. So we knew right away this morning was going to be filled with news. And this wasn't just any news. This news was powerful. We had jobless claims that came out a little bit lower. We had construction spending that was a little bit higher. We had natural gas inventories came out as expected, and crude inventories dramatically lower. They were bullish on inventories. So let's talk about crude for a second, because we made some money today on crude. We also made some money on the Russell this morning as well. Looking over at the Russell and the crude, we'll go with crude first. We began the day today with this very obvious sideways range. Now, let's not cheat. This is what it looked like when we began the day today. Right? So here's what my crude market looked like at 8 o'clock this morning. And so we came out here and we said, okay, guys, what's the market's personality on crude oil? Range bound. It's a fake out, breakout personality. Crude oil loves to make new higher highs, fail, and come right back down all the way to the lows. So our initial strategy this morning as we came in was to look for a price to break out and sell the highs. And while I was busy going over another market, we did get the breakout, and we did get a chance to sell the highs. In fact, many of you members out there this morning were in this trade short. It made a new higher high, not by much. You sell the high, it brought it all the way back down. So that could have been your first trade today. I, unfortunately, was not in that trade. Sometimes I'm too busy teaching, and I got to put my profit and loss statement on the back burner. So I was not able to get in that trade. But later on in the morning, we get to 11 o'clock. What happened at 11 o'clock? 11 a.m. this morning, what do we see? Crude inventories. What were the inventory numbers? Inventories came out lower than expected, but that's not the big deal. What was the big deal? You heard it here with me. Demand number. Okay, demand was the trigger. Demand was the variable that we really used to make the biggest trade of the day today. And so what happened was inventories came out lower. That could be either too much demand or not enough supply. So the inventory number didn't give us the trigger. It was the demand number that did. The demand number comes out, and we know now it's bullish, and we buy. We took our profit target off at the previous high of day. Profit target off at the previous high of day. Here was another trade that was called live in real time. Right before I took the entry, everybody had plenty of time to enter this trade along with me, and I made about $500 on that trade. So that was a good way to get my day started. Okay, so made our money on the crude. I then proceeded to try to sell below the previous high. You can see the candlesticks you can see here just didn't make it very easy. I did try to sell here, but you're going to see from my results here, it wasn't exactly smooth sailing. So first trade today here on crude was a long. That was easy to spot based on reading the tape, reading the news at 11 o'clock. I then tried again, like I said, I tried to buy one more time above the previous high of day. Bad slippage on my stop. Tried to then sell back below the previous high of day. And more bad slippage on that stop. That's when I said, okay, non-farm payrolls are tomorrow morning. We know the words to this song. right? We know this is not a good time to be forcing trades here. You can also see here we made some money on the Russell. Now the Russell also got us into a great position today. Now the Russell was actually a really good example that sometimes you've got to abandon the initial plan because of the price action, because of the market's personality. We take a lot of pride in the fact that we have the finger on the pulse of the market's personality. What do I mean by that? I mean by using our pace of tape indicator, by using our speed indicators, volume, by reading tape. On the Russell this morning, we were able to pick up on a wave pattern. Now, here's the chart that we initially used in the Russell. And this chart, of course, was posted this morning at about 9 o'clock. We go over all this stuff in real time. Every morning, we plan our trades and we trade our plan. No different on the Russell. But the Russell, though, was a great example that sometimes we have the license, we have the freedom to change that plan. What do you see here in the Russell? Well, we can see right away we have that old bearish channel. We left that on there just so we knew what kind of had happened, right? We had broken out of that bear channel. We could probably remove it now. Big clue, though, here, ABCD. The ABCD pattern told us. Now, remember, the ABCD pattern is a reversal pattern. The ABCD does not tell you to buy. It tells you to look to sell here. So there was one clue to be a seller. What else do you see here, folks? A trend line, right? We drew a trend line on an 89 range chart. That trend line was also intersecting with a trend line at these lows. What does that give me? You got it. That's a price wedge. Another selling clue, because look where we are at the highs of that wedge. So 2 clues, 2 reasons to sell. Was there one more? Yeah, look. Trigger zone. Take that high to the low. Take that high all the way up top there. Bring it on down to that low. That gives you your trigger zone resistance. There was another reason to be short. We had 3 reasons to sell the highs on the Russell. And we definitely did try to sell the highs. But what happened? No sellers. There were no sellers at the highs. What did we see, though? We saw exactly what we're seeing again right now in the Russell. We saw buyers. So what happened was, this is all we got. We got nothing but buyers, and they're still trying to force this thing all the way through those highs. And we saw that, so we decided we're going to be buyers. And man, I thought we had the Russell pegged. I thought we had this thing going to 832. Now, judging on the fact that below 24, we didn't get very far, I would have to assume that we are going to test this 832. So right now on the Russell, we have a couple scenarios. Scenario 1 is that this Russell is going to keep on chopping around here at these highs. And you can see here the Russell gave you ample opportunities here to get in long as it went higher. We talked about this today as well. The first trade was a nice wave pattern. And then literally wave re-entry, wave re-entry, wave re-entry. I took the last one because I was busy teaching instead of trading on those first 2. By the time we got through 10 o'clock, I had managed to get myself into the final trade there. That may be my 43 some odd ticks there. That's where I got the first winning trade of my morning. Meanwhile, I was just playing catch up for the members out there that have been buying that stuff the whole way up. So that's where I got my 2 big winning trades today. One on the Russell and one on the Crude. You see what happened though? We had this major resistance overhead at 832. We were trying to go all the way through this thing and keep going because that's what the Russell loves to do. The Russell is very different than crude oil in the sense that even though Russell looks like crude on your chart, it will run. It will keep going in the direction it started with. Whereas crude oil, as you saw this morning, will whip around and take back that money before you can even blink. So we bought here on the Russell. That's where I got my winning trade. I then got short on the Russell. That didn't get me anywhere. Tried to buy a couple more times, just it wasn't budging. And again, the price action slowed down so dramatically here early, lunchtime session, 11 o'clock, 11:15, that it became very challenging to have the confidence to just keep jumping into this thing at the highs, right? You got to be a little bit crazy to keep banging your head against a brick wall and that goes for trading too. So on the lookout for the afternoon this afternoon. This afternoon, we got a couple things we're looking for. We're looking for the bottom to drop out of the crude. At 2:30 this afternoon, crude oil will close up. I'm looking to buy the lows of the wedge on the euro. So on the euro right now, I'm looking to buy the lows of this price wedge. We talked about that this morning. The most difficult thing would be to wait. On the euro, we're buying the lows. On crude oil here, we're looking for the price to collapse. I'm projecting price will come all the way back to 86.35. 86.35 going to be my target for the short. Okay, that is a central floor pivot. It is also by the open. It's also back inside the opening range. So I'm expecting crude to come all the way back down to 86.35, and I'll be looking to get into that trade here after lunch. On the gold, we're going to look to buy here on gold back above 17.22. Get back into the lows of that wedge. Get back into the lows of that channel. Right? Get back on track again, going higher. In the big picture, this looks like nothing more than an 89 wave pattern. That's all it is. It's a big wave pattern, big pullback. Okay, so gold, be careful about the sell side, but if we get back above 17.22, now keep in mind, non-farm payrolls Friday, tomorrow morning, gold is going to be, I'm going to go out and say this, probably the most difficult market this afternoon. The bond market would be the next most difficult, in my humble opinion. So the Russell goes right back to the highs right now, and that's what our next plan is going to be on the Russell, is we're going to get back to the buy side here on the Russell. It's very evident the sellers are not in charge on the Russell, but the buyers did take a little bit of a siesta. So we will look for a re-entry on the Russell once we make new higher highs above 27s, and we'll look to go all the way up to 31.5. 31.5 is where I expect to see the Russell later on today. So 31.5 will be the target for the Russell. We've given you some targets on crude. Crude back down to the lows of the range. Russell up to the 31.5. Now it's time for a little bit of Q&A, and we'll take a lunch break, and we'll come back here with members only. We welcome the guests to be here. We welcome the guests to be here from 8 a.m. until 11:30 a.m. Monday through Friday. We then close down after 11:30 for a little bit of lunch. We take a little bit of a break. We'll be back here at 1 o'clock, 1:30-ish to get back in the action for the afternoon session, and we'll be trading the afternoon session until 4:30. Yesterday afternoon, we had a fantastic afternoon session, so I have no reason to think anything different this afternoon. And I do want to remind you all that if you are a member of mine right now, two really big important announcements right now. First of all, our new pattern scanner will be released on Monday next week. Our new pattern scanner will be available members only starting on Monday next week. For more information, we do have a special discount before Sunday evening for anyone who registers as a new member or pre-orders their license as a current member. Okay, I'm warning you right now, our membership enrollment fees are going to be dramatically increasing next Monday morning. You don't want to miss out on this opportunity right now to pre-order your license for the scanner if you're a member, or as a trial member right now to get registered as a brand new member and be able to have access to that scanner on Monday morning. Second thing, we are right around the corner from November 15th, our Members Summit. In Las Vegas, Nevada, every 6 months we have a little party. We get a little shindig plan with a couple hundred of you School of Trade members who are planning on attending in Las Vegas. I want to encourage anyone who has not RSVP'd yet, and if you are planning on attending this exciting event for us, we got a lot of guest speakers. We'll be doing a live trading competition with the new scanner. It's going to be a really exciting Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We got a big kickoff party planned for Saturday night. If you're going to be in Vegas on the 15th, 16th, and 17th, come out and join us, but make sure you RSVP because we got catering, we got food. We'll make sure we get the proper head count. We also want to make sure we have enough computers and make sure everything is working properly there for all the guests that are going to be there for the summit. Excellent job, everybody. You've been warned. Enrollment fees are going to be increasing dramatically next week. Don't be surprised if you're priced out of this membership, guys, if you're right on the borderline right now. All right, call our office, get the information for the incentive this week to get started, and we'll be here, of course, with the scanner live in real time next Monday. Time to wrap this morning up. I want to thank all the guests for being here. I want to thank all the members for being here. We got a couple more minutes here for questions. Who needs me? Let's keep the questions going before we go to lunch, and then we'll come back here at 1:30 for the afternoon session.